everything to me is, can we have another case to compare it to? Has there ever been a time, Rob, this is the question that I've been asking on all the OpenAI questions. Has there ever been a journalist that joined protesters before and went into a church to question the pastor, the preacher, or the priest? Okay?
I say no.
The answer is no. It keeps bringing up a guy named Hunter Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah. I've had to clear up 4 times. Did Hunter S. Thompson go into the church to question a pastor and join the protesters before? And he eventually said no. There is no documented case of a major, nationally recognized journalist entering an active church service with protesters to question or confront the pastor in U.S. history, which means there is a case here. That's what I'm saying. Because if you don't set the tone, Chris, from the top, if it would have said yes, I would have said, okay, it's the American way. If you want to go under question a pastor, no problem. But if you don't set the tone now to make it a precedent that you cannot do this, you don't think other journalists are going to look at this and say, I'm going to go into a church, I'm going to go into a Catholic church, I'm going to go into this. Then guess what? You know what's even worse? Watch this. You don't think a journalist like a Jake Lang, I don't know if I would put him as a journalist, but he's a guy that goes out there, or these
the January 6th guy?
Younger Nick Shirley guys, or these Nick Sorter type of guys that do very, very good job. You don't think they're going to go into a mosque? You don't think they're going to go into a Islamic center and start asking questions from them? Then what do you think happens? I think it is a very important, and now that I'm going a little bit deeper into it, I think it is a very important standard to set. I don't know what's going to happen to the guy, but if you don't set the tone and this gets out of control, so imagine they don't do anything. Let's actually play the other side. Say they don't do anything. I'm a 24-year-old. Dude, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be like, wait, that's all you have to do is go viral? Hey, what church are we going into next?
That's what they know already. Look, I think it's a deeper conversation on one level, okay? I get you about setting a standard. Okay, so let's talk about the standard. Nick Shirley, Jake Lang, let's throw Don Lemon in there, okay? Are they journalists? Or are they professional provocateurs? Mm-hmm. And that's the real problem is, do you see ABC News going into a church? No. Do you see the New York Times going in and doing it?
Ask why.
Because they're afraid of being sued.
They know the law.
That's why. They have standards and practices.
But by the way, could that not be the fact that they know the law and they're following the laws?
They know the law and they know their brand, and they are sensitive to different types of scrutiny. You said what the truth is now. Go viral. Whatever it takes to go viral, you win.
Then I'm for it. I'm for the fact that they did this to Don.
Wait. We're not comparing. Nick Shirley you can't put him even on the same plane as Don Lemon is just the Trump. Nick Shirley exposed one of the biggest fraud networks in the history.
That is not even close
$9 billion, a 23-year-old kid. Oh, hold on.
It's not even close to true.
Do you put Nick Shirley in the same boat as a Don Lemon?
I think that's a silly question. Why? I think if you want to talk about Nick Shirley, because what categories, what are they? What were we talking about? Lions versus Tigers?
No,
what I'm saying is Nick Shirley went and knocked on doors, played the fact that they wouldn't let him in as signs of fraud. The state investigated, the federal government is investigating right now. Nothing has come up to corroborate anything that he said on his video, except they didn't let me in. I think it's because they want to hide what they're doing. They investigated at the state level, and you can say Minnesota's corrupt. I don't believe their investigation. Okay, but they investigated, found nothing like what he's talking about. Remember, we're not talking about the COVID scam with the white lady at the middle of it that involved all those other Somalians that was one of the biggest COVID scams going, which is real, and they prosecuted in 2022.
86 people.
What he did, knocking on the doors, is not $9 billion, is not proven. The federal government's looking at it. Let's see if they come to a different conclusion. But putting him in the same category, I'll tell you why I'd say no. Am I biased? Yes. Why? Because I have love for Don Lemon, even though we have a checkered past, okay? And so maybe I'm biased because I have that personal, emotional stake. But I don't put Nick Shirley in any of the categories. He's not a journalist. Why? Journalism requires rigor. You don't knock on a door, get an answer, go and cross-reference it with different people's licenses, and then the people on the right do the rest for you and motivate you into Edward R. Murrow. there's a reason there's been no corroboration of anything that he has said.
But hold on, but you said, and I'll let you. But you said
I'm here for the
exactly
pushback.
this. You're talking
Bunch of
about
punks.
the state. You're talking about the state that has Tim Walz, number
Yes,
one.
I get
that
it.
has, hold on, Mayor Fry.
I get it.
Ilhan Omar.
I get it.
And Keith Ellison, who's a freaking communist. Chris?
I get it.
And I get what you're saying. Let's wait and let's wait and let's wait. I'm telling you, it wasn't just knocking on doors. Who was the guy that he was with? David, the white guy who had the proof and the money. It wasn't like they just knocked and said
he had
nobody's
the
here.
amount of allocations that were given to those businesses.
And there's no children in any of these
You
places.
don't know that. And then
I
when the
was
state
watching the
investigates,
videos.
no, I know, but the video is what it is. They're presenting what they want you to see. When the state investigators went there, they found children. They found other violations also, by the way, but not of a criminal nature like he had suggested. All I'm saying is this. I'm not here to run down Nick Shirley, okay? I don't give a shit about that. What I'm here to do is say, let's see what they have. They're incredibly motivated to show that he was right. There has been no such proof to this point, and that matters. Now, who's better, who's worse? I don't know, but I do stand on this one point. All that matters is going viral, okay? And that's where our commodity is. That's where the algorithm is. That's where the money is. And that's what these guys are doing. Megyn Kelly is no different than what you're accusing Don Lemon of. They're both doing it for the same reason. I know I'm on Sirius Radio with her. I don't give a damn. They are in the business of pissing you off for profit. Is Don doing that? Yes, I agree with you. He is. Should he? That's my choice. That's my choice.
But there's a difference, and I want to validate
Rob,
what PBD said.
Do me a favor, Rob. Can you, and by the way, while you're talking about this, can you pull up the clip, Rob, I send you with, and Adam, I'll come to you in a second.
Sir.
Mayor Fry and Stephen A. Smith. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
So watch this. This is where, you know, when you're saying what you're saying, Chris, here's Stephen A., good friend. Both of us are friends with this guy. He's talking to him, and he asks him a simple question. Look what his answer is. Go ahead, Rob.
I got to ask you this. When you talked about just illegal migrants in a city, people who cross the border illegally, that's what people called them. I want to ask you, how many do you believe you have in your city at this particular moment in time?
He has to change it, undocumented.
How many people that are undocumented are living in
Yes, sir.
Minneapolis right now?
Undocumented. Yes. Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I couldn't. I don't really have a
How do
guess
you not
as to
know?
how
You
many
not know.
presently are here. I do know that I think that the federal
Okay,
administration.
you can pause it right there. Okay, so if you don't know the number of undocumented guys in there in your city, you are not a leader. How do you not know who's there legally and illegally? How do you not know the numbers?
How would you know? Did
Well,
you know that we don't even count? At the federal level, how would you know an unknown?
Then this validates Nick Shirley's investigation even more. That
How?
there is no accountability. What do you mean how?
Well, not knowing how many people are undocumented in your municipality does not mean that they're all committing fraud and you're unaware.
No, those are two different things.
I know,
But
I
you still-
agree.
but by the way, they're illegal in the first place. They came here illegally.
They are here illegally. Let's
Illegally.
assume that. But I don't know how many there are. The federal estimate is from 10 to 25 million. That's a good range.
Shouldn't a mayor of a city that's going through a crisis like this say our range is a number? Shouldn't he have a range of a number? Is it
10
one
to
is it
25
100,000?
million?
No, for the city. Shouldn't
No,
he
I
be
know,
able to
but
know
I'm
for
saying
his
if the
city?
federal government, where this is an obvious priority for them and it is not a priority for Fry, clearly, right? Their estimate is 10 to 25 million.
That validates why Nick Shirley's content went viral. Adam.
So I just want to ask one more question. I believe Nick Shirley is not the story here. I think what he did is needed, and he didn't go viral for the sake of going viral. He went viral because everybody saw what was going on with their own eyes, and now they start buying the quality Leering Center shirts because what Nick Shirley did was journalism. So we'll compartmentalize that. What I do want to focus on is exactly what PBD talked about with this Hunter S. Thompson guy. Now, if you're not familiar with him, you might be familiar with the movie that was, I think, based around him, which was called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Right.
And the whole concept of what he did was called gonzo journalism, where you no longer are reporting the story, you are the main character in the story. In my opinion, that is what Don Lemon is doing. At the same time, you brought up Jake Lang, who's bringing bacon to protests and agitating Muslims. So they are the main characters here. In Nick Shirley's situation, the Somalians who are allegedly committing fraud were the main story. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar are the main culprits in that story for enabling them. But let me bring this back to your relationship with Don. Jake Lang Nick Shirley, these are young kids with a microphone. Don Lemon is a 30-year celebrated reporter doing the same thing that kids are doing. What kind of a fall from grace do you have to do from going
I don't
from
want to go
CNN
there. I've moved
studio
on. I've moved
to
on
be
from-
on to do Man on the Street?
I get that.
But that's the point, is that he's doing gonzo journalism.
You do what gets you paid and makes you relevant.
Yeah.
Ask the same question to people on the right. Megyn Kelly, seasoned prosecutor, also pedigreed, had a shot at the big time, failed. Now what is she doing?
But she's not doing Man on the Street.
But
Would you ever
look,
do
fir-
Man on
first
the
of all, you
Street
could make
again?
the- you could make
There's
the
something to be
argument-
said here about Man on the Street. People start their careers with Man on the
You
Street.
could make the
Don Lemon
argument-
is finishing his career at Man on the Street. That is a very important point.
I don't accept the standard. And I'll tell
Tell
you
me
why.
someone else who
Talking
still does
to
Man on the
regular
Street.
people as
But
opposed
answer
to
this.
experts.
But answer this. Who do you see doing Man on the Street that is a credible journalist that's been in studio, mainstream studio, for 30 years? I can't name one.
Why-
If you can, I'll understand your opinion.
Why is his? Well, I don't accept the standard. The idea of talking to
But just
people
give
is
me-
a bad thing.
I'm not
That's
saying
the
talking
most
to
basic
people.
form of journalism.
The reason that Jesse Waters became famous is because he worked for Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly sent him out into the street. Jimmy Kimmel sends
no, but
Guillermo to the
that was
street.
hold on. That was an act. Okay,
I understand
There's a
that.
difference
But
between an
my
act
question
and
is,
talking
can you
to
name
actual
one credible
people.
journalist who's now been relegated to Man on the Street? That's my point.
And so let me guys. I want to move on.
It's where, it's where the money
So
is. That's why he's doing it.
there's a game coming up called Super Bowl, right? And Seattle is going up against
New England,
New
sir.
England Patriots, and it's so funny because we can go through a whole different conversation with New England with Bill Belichick. Maybe we'll do that all the way at the end because I'm sure we all have some opinions on Bill Belichick not making it into the Hall of Fame. Tom Brady said, "If I have to come back and play with only one coach, I'm not picking anybody else but Bill Belichick." And the guy didn't make it, and 3 other coaches were first ballot Hall of Famers, but this guy didn't. But anyways, Patriots, Seattle Seahawks, while this is happening, you're watching it, and if you believe future looks bright, you may want to wear this gear that we're launching here today. Go ahead, Rob.
It starts with what you wear. Not just style, identity.
I like that you went with the British guy.
Built with precision. From the curve of the brim to the weight of the fabric. Every detail matters because this isn't just apparel. It's confidence you put on, pride you represent, a statement without saying a word, where performance
You guys
meets
have your own
legacy.
flag football team?
This is more than gear. This is who we are.
All right, go to VTmerch.com,
okay,
folks.
Mano.
Good for Mano. Looking good.
Panda.
Go to VTmerch.com, place your order. Future looks bright. And by the way, Mano, right there, used to play for the Chiefs. He's now here running VT Sports with Danny Cannell. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.